today. And so for those that this is their first one, this is a series of 6 workshops that we put on each quarter, and we cover self-mastery, time management, finance, marketing, sales, and team. And obviously this is really where our focus is within customer mastery. About, and really customer mastery is making sure our clients stay with us and come back. You know, that's the key thing is, how do we get people to come back? Because if you've ever been to a bad restaurant or anywhere where you get bad service, okay, you might complete that transaction, but you definitely won't be buying again, and certainly you won't be referring those people to anybody else. So it's about creating raving fans, as we'll see, and getting clients to actually stay with us, and hopefully, you know, spend a bit more money with us as well. So if we can add value to that, then it's going to be really key. But I'll show you a little bit how that comes in a minute. So there should be a chat box there. Gary's already typed in there. So if you could just sort of type into there anything specific you'd like to get out of today's workshop. So if there's a particular context that you want to sort of bring customer service into, if you've had a particular challenge in the past that you'd like to sort of get some ideas of how to overcome that, it does help me steer what I'm going to cover to make it more personal to you guys. So then we can reflect at the end of the session that I've covered all of those things, because because we've got a small group, I can move things around and make sure I am flexible to cover what's you need rather than just what's on my agenda. So just type in the chat box anything that you feel that you want to cover today. Anything at all. Otherwise, I'm just going to make it up and not even cover customer service. If you can't type, then you can just speak. So you've only got a small group. So Andy, is anything from you? As you coughed.
Really. I was hoping someone else was going to write first to give me inspiration.
I can't put it into like words for some reason.
Okay,
but basically,
really.
That every day deciding, right, is this worth losing money on today here, or should I keep this customer happy? It's like there's so many situations where like they might try to fob you off, or be asking for something that shouldn't be like covered under warranty or something. And it's just, is there some kind of formula, or maybe there's some more better guidance on like just making those decisions quicker on, you know, should I keep them happy or should I?
Yeah, so is this where there's been a problem and they want a discount, or is this just somebody that wants to buy normally and wants a discount?
Yeah, usually like when there's been a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if there's been a problem, then how do we keep a problem client happy without losing money on a transaction? Okay, I think we'll cover some of that, but there'll be an area where it's probably most relevant. So if you can remind me at that stage, that would be great. So, and then Ben, you know, can you be too keen? Okay, how far to go? Difference between phone, email, on site. That's a good one. Okay, because those are 3 different mediums that we can use. I'm looking at this. This isn't really going to cover sort of what I would call sales to new customers. Okay, it's very much about people who already know you and use you. So we will touch a little bit of that if you're thinking about new, but I do more of that in the sales mastery when we're converting somebody brand new. So this is more about maintaining what we've got. So, okay.
Yep.
Cool. And better B2B. Yeah. So that's really what this is all going to be about, is how we can up our service. So the first thing, and I start all my workshops with this. So if you've been to some, you'll start to get bored with this, but you never get bored of it because it's such a powerful little formula. So and you go, if you're new, please do take notes as you go, because it reinforces the learning, and also means that when I come to the test at the end, you can refer back to your notes and be able to answer the test better. So no, there's no
I
test.
get a bit of paper, just 1 second.
There's no test at the end, Andy. Don't worry about it.
That's cool.
You joke. I was on site a few weeks ago with Gareth, and the guy joked that there was a test at the end, and I thought, nah, and I didn't read any of the stuff. And then there was actually a test at the end.
But please do take notes, because it does. It is important, because you can go back to it afterwards, and if there are questions, it does make it easy for you to refer back to. It does. The main thing is it reinforces the learning process. So,
Back.
okay, cool.
Thank you.
This is what I call the formula for life success. So whatever you want to be successful at in life, this formula must stack up. Who do I need to be? What do I need to do? And what I want to have. Okay. And have is our dreams and our goals. So what do we want to achieve? B is our attitude, knowledge, and skills. And the do is what do I actually need to do? So I know Megan's done a few of these, so she will know the answer to this one. But she can test herself just to make sure she does remember. For the rest of you, if we're thinking about customer service and we're thinking about what is it that is going to make us successful at it, which one of those three things is most important? They're all important. You've got to have them all, but which one is the most important for great customer service?
Attitude, knowledge, and skills.
The attitude, knowledge, and skills. Yep, really, that is really, really important.
Plan and action.
The actual doing it, so you can have the knowledge, but if you don't do it, then do is important. Yeah, both really important, but not the most important. So Ben, which is the most important?
The have.
The have, excellent, good choice, Ben.
You need to have those skills to be able to.
You need to, but the key to this is you've got to know what good customer service looks like. You've got to have an idea of what you're trying to achieve, because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you're not clear what you want to actually achieve, then how do you know how to learn and get better at it? How do you know what to actually do? And what I find with a lot of people when we're thrust into a customer service, imagine you'd been thrown into McDonald's. You'll do your best, and you can only use what knowledge and attitudes you've currently got. But how do we know what level of customer service McDonald's will be looking for? The key to this is actually being clear, what great customer service looks like, and then actually working on ways to actually achieve it. So what we've got to do is spend a little bit of time thinking about what is it we're trying to achieve, then we can go and be, and we can then go and do. Yeah, and many organizations don't actually set their standard of what that would look like. So Andy on a good day would have great customer service. Andy on a bad day would have atrocious customer service. Yeah, and there's no good having a business where you've got customer service at different levels. It has to be consistent. And if you go to some of the best restaurants, hotels, leisure facilities, where customer service is everything, they're good because they're consistent. And they're consistent because they know what good looks like. And they've set the bar, and then they make sure that everyone meets that bar. So what do we want to have? If you can imagine it, you can achieve it. Yeah, if you dream it, you can become it. So this is really what we've got to start thinking is why is it we want customer service, and what is it going to actually look like? So I want to just take a little bit of a step back now and show you how customer service really comes in, because the game of business is every business must make a profit. Okay, because if it doesn't make a profit, it can't make enough money to reinvest, keep ahead of the game, and stay in the game. Businesses that run out of profit, run out of cash, and eventually die. So this is what we call our 5 ways to profits. Okay, so we've got to get new business in. So new business is the number of inquiries we get through our marketing, our conversion, which is our sales, That gives us our customers. Then our customers come back to us and buy again and again. So that's our transactions. And then hopefully they spend more, which is our average pound sale, which gives us our revenue. And then if we can deliver it on time, on budget, then we make a profit. So what we're looking at here with customers is very much these two here. How do I get my customers coming back? And how do I get them to spend more? Okay. And the other one, which is drives these, is how do I make them happy? Because happy customers come back more often and spend more money. It's the way it goes. Unhappy customers disappear. So we could spend all this money on driving leads, have an amazing sales team that converts them, but if we don't maintain them, then our business is just going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. We're constantly trying to fill the bath, with a plug left out. So it's really key that we focus on these two here and make sure we get this repeat business. So the first thing I think is to actually visualize what your ideal customer looks like. Now, every business has a set of customers, which I tend to categorize into A's, B's, C's, and D's. So think about your customer base, the clients that you service, you work with. There'll be a number that are sitting up here as A's. And A's are awesome clients. So Megan, give me an example or a definition of what an awesome client for you would look like.
Obviously, we have business-to-business customers as well as end customers. So an awesome dealer would be one that obviously buys regularly from us and pays on time, doesn't give us too much hassle, and one that is very good at fixing the bikes and stuff. And then an awesome end customer would be obviously one that again makes lots of purchases that are sort of high value and doesn't whinge.
Right. So you could write down the attributes of an A grade client on your wholesale and your retail.
Yeah.
Okay. Ben, could you do the same? I mean, you've just got sort of B2B clients, but could you describe to me what an awesome client would look like for you?
Yes, someone that's straightforward, easy to deal with, pays on time. That's it really. As long as they're straightforward and easy to deal with, for me and my role, that suits me great. Yeah, that's a good customer.
So all customers are going to be slightly different. Obviously, from a personal point of view, you'll think certain types of people are. From a company wide, it might be a little bit. You'd have to go a little bit wider than that. But for all of us, we should be able to identify what our awesome clients are. The B's then are what I call basic clients. Okay, so these are the ones that they're okay. There's nothing wrong with them. They come, they buy, they transact with us. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with them. They're just not quite awesome yet. Then you've got your do-betters. So these ones that, they're just a bit of a pain in the neck. Okay, there's something about them that it just makes them, less than basic and definitely not awesome. And these are the ones you really wish would disappear. They're a pain in the arse to deal with. They're always complaining. They are just drive you up the wall. And if you think about, if you're managing a group of customers that cover all of these, and you think about where the number of customers you've got, hopefully this lot here is about 80%. And this lot here is about 20%. Okay, because if you've got too many of these, then you've got problems. Okay, so it's the Pareto Rule. 80% of your work will come from 20% of your sort of customer base. But hopefully, you've probably got 20% here, 60% here, and then 20% here, and none of these. But you're going to have a few of these because you tend to pick them up, and no one else wants them, so you end up stuck with them. But if you think about where's your time spent, okay, the amount of time you spend servicing these clients, yeah, what you'll probably find is 20% of your time goes here and 80% of your time goes down here. That these people down here are just, they're such a pain that they just suck all your time, energy, and effort. Okay, so one of the first things you need to consider, I'm not saying you necessarily do this, and certainly don't do it without permission of the whole organization, is get rid of these people.
Cherry pick.
Cherry pick, yeah. I mean, the thing with running a business, you don't have to deal with people that don't appreciate what you do. Now, if they're, Megan, go back to your point, if they're always arguing, if they're always complaining about things, you know, then, yeah, if you can, get rid of them.
Mm.
They're just not worth the time and the effort. You make no money on them anyway because you've got to keep giving them discounts. Yeah. You spend all of this time down here, which means that your awesome clients, all these lovely people up here, you don't spend time with. And it's these people here that are going to give you referrals, yeah, are going to give you more margin and spend more. So if you find that your time is down here, then you've got to do something about it. Cull these people, yeah, and use that time to get more out of these people to replace what these people are bringing in. The other good thing is if you get rid of these people, yeah, where do they go? If you're not servicing, where do they go?
They go out to another company.
Go to another company, one of your competitors.
Yeah.
And guess what they do with your competitor?
Waste their time.
Waste their time. Hey, it's a double win. Saves you time, makes you more money, and actually annoys them. So get rid of these people. And then what we need to do is look at how do we move, get rid of these people, how do we move these people up? So can we move these people up to here and these people up to here? Okay, that's what we'll look at in a minute. How do we upgrade our customers and get them all to be, yeah, imagine an organization where every single customer was up as an A-grade customer. Wouldn't life be grand? It'll never happen, but it's a nice utopian position to aim for. So you've got to think about your ideal customers and what actually makes them that. You know, is it the amount that they spend? You know, the fact that they pay quickly, yeah, the amount they spend per sale, the number of referrals. You know, really good A-grade customers actually bring you more business. They bring you referrals. They introduce you to more people. So really think what that criteria is and sit down with your customer base, look through it, and then see if you can categorize them. Okay, into your A, B, C, Ds. And then once we know that, if we can get rid of those C's and C's, sorry, get rid of the D's and then upgrade the C's and upgrade the B's. So, and then what we've really got to do is link this into what our sales target is. So if we know what our actual sales target is for the period, then let's split that down into existing clients and new clients. So let's say my sales target for the year, yeah. So let's say the year's sales target was, let's say it was 500,000. So I've got to achieve a sales target of 500,000. What I've got to do first is say, of that 500,000, how much of that is going to come from my existing client base? Okay. Now, if I've got a good business that has lots of repeat business, this might be, you know, 400,000 might come from existing clients. So therefore, my new clients is only 100. If I've got a business where, you know, my purchases from clients are more sort of infrequent, so once a year, once every other year, this might only be 100, and this is 400. Now, if my sales target of new clients was 400, and I've got to set my budget, my marketing budget, to attract that 400, yeah, I might sort of say, well, actually, I'm going to spend, you know, let's say £20,000, so 5%, yeah, on my marketing budget. But if I'm going to spend £20,000 to get 400, how much should I spend to keep 100? £5%. So I've got to have a budget of £5,000 here to actually look after my existing clients. Look to keep my A's happy, get my A's referring me more work, get my B's to become A's and my C's to become A's or B's, and get rid of my D's. So what happens in most businesses is they set a marketing budget, and all of that marketing budget goes on new clients. It goes on advertising, social media, marketing campaigns to bring in new business, and there's no budget set aside to actually look after my existing client base. The other thing, yeah, in a company also, certainly when, you know, if you remember Gareth, when you were sort of working on your own in your own business, you know, it's also time. You know, how much time do you spend trying to get a new client as to spend time actually nurturing your existing clients? Most of the time you don't have time to do either, which is why, you know, running a business on your own is so difficult. So you can start to see now that, you know, the success of our business, which is driving our sales, but ultimately profits, we've got to start breaking this down into its component parts. How much is going to come from our existing clients? How much is going to come from our new clients? And if I've got a new client, obviously I want to give them a really good feeling that they become an existing client. So a great service to actually keep them there. So being clear what our goal is around our existing business is so important. You know, I've got to know what my number of transactions is. How many times does a client come back? I've got to know how much they spend on a regular basis. I've got to know my A grade, my B grade clients, so I can actually start to understand what they look like, so I can attract more of them. Yeah, so really think of you know, like attracts like. If you build an organization that attracts, you know, A grade clients, then you're going to be fine. Okay. Any questions up to there? Andy, do you think that's possible within R&B's? Have done this exercise?
Yeah, probably. I'm quite new to R&B, so I'm not really too sure, but
yeah,
I would have thought so.
Yeah.
I don't see why that's not achievable. They seem to have quite a lot of clients.
I think as well, a lot of where we work in the business is repeat customers, because we're going out and doing the testing and it's every year and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where I think as a customer-wide point of view, the ones that are spending the big money are the new installs and things like that.
Mm.
And then they're not necessarily customers now, but when they spend and have the big install, then we want to keep them so that we can get the year-on-year testing, looking forward if they need other installs, that kind of thing. So yeah, we kind of come in at the back end because we're doing the existing client stuff, but there's other people within the business that are doing the new customer stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big team effort, you know, and it's not just silos where one looks after one, the other. You're always sort of pollinating between the different departments. But the key to this is really understand what the goal is. Look, the goal is really to make this amount of money, but you're looking after this amount and we're looking after this amount.
Yeah.
We also need to understand, look, if you've got a budget to get this amount of new business, we also need a budget to look after our existing business. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to do it properly. I need the time budget and the money budget to be able to do that if you want to retain that work. So once we know what our goal is, so this is what we want to achieve, so I know what I'm looking for, then we can work on our beliefs. Okay, now, one of the key things about beliefs, something we hold to be true, is we pick our beliefs over the years of generally of experiences. So what I'd like you to sort of just, again, we'll just share, we've got a small group, so just sort of call it out, but what would you say some negative beliefs that you might have about customers are?
They don't like to pay on time.
They don't want to pay on time, yeah.
They don't like to pay. All the time.
I don't like to pay at all, yeah. Yeah, so they don't want to pay you for their services, yeah.
They want to make life as difficult as possible.
Yeah.
Not always open to change.
Yeah.
They think
really quite miserable.
Quite miserable, yeah.
They quite often with the testing, it's like they think we're out to get them, whereas really we're out to try and help them.
Yep.
Quite entitled, a lot of them.
Yep. So we can, it's quite difficult to sort of look at our customers sometimes in a positive way. They can become a bit of a headache. Now, if we're going to go in and create great customer service and we believe all of our clients are bad payers, a waste of time, there to make our lives difficult, then are we going to give them great customer service?
Not really.
No. Okay, so what the first thing we've got to work on is, how do we see them? And this is why I sort of say that working with A-grade clients is so much easier, because you tend to look at A-grade clients and think, actually, you're nice people, because all those negative things, you don't do any of those. And if you're trying to build a consistent service where you're dealing with A-grade and D-grade clients, it's very, very difficult. Imagine you're running a 5-star hotel. Okay, and you end up with a load of sort of lager louts coming. Okay, how difficult is it to maintain your level of service when you've got people that are treating your facility like that?
It's impossible.
It's impossible. So how do 5-star hotels ensure that they don't?
Keep the money up. It's more expensive to go there to keep the lager louts out. Yeah,
make it difficult for the D grade clients to actually come along. Okay, so I'm not saying that every business can do this, but what I'm saying is you've got to start thinking about the types of clients you've got, what your beliefs about them are, because if they're negative beliefs, you will not be able to give great customer service. The best system in the world, but it just won't happen, because deep down, subconsciously, you just don't care about them, or you think they're a pain in the neck. So we've got to be careful and really, and if you do believe this, then great. Talk about it. Talk about it as a team. Talk about it as an organisation. What are we going to do about it? Imagine, let's go back and so I use leisure hotels and things a lot in this, because I think it's easier to see customer service in those situations, sometimes in our own, but everything applies back in our own businesses. So imagine now that we own a restaurant or a bar, and 80% of our customers are lager louts. Okay, that's all we attract. That's the place is just filled with these people. So I could put the prices up, but I wouldn't get anybody coming to my bar.
We are Wetherspoons.
Exactly, Gareth. We are Wetherspoons now.
Then you might as well change the business model, like Wetherspoons do, to cater for the lager louts.
Yep.
And then make it more suited to them and to their needs.
Yep.
And then you'll get more lager louts in, but that's all good because that's now your customer base and that's who you want to be dealing with.
Yep.
And then it's problem solved.
Exactly that.
Then your could do better customers become your awesome customers because you've changed rather than them.
Yeah. And that's really what we've got to do. If our customer base, are just those people that don't appreciate really high level of service, then don't build a business around high level service. Build it around what they need, what's important to them. I love Wetherspoons now because there's an app that you can just go in, sit down and order all your drinks on an app and they're delivered to you.
I agree. For that reason, that's about the difference.
Yeah, that's it. It's great. They understand the customer. We don't want to interact with people. It's like we have enough trouble interacting with each other. That's why we get drunk. So we've got to look at our client base. What have we got, and build our customers, our business, and our customer service to the level of people that we want to attract. There's no good being a 5-star hotel if all you've got around you is lager louts. And likewise, if you've got some very well-off individuals that don't like being around lager louts, then make sure that lager louts don't interact with your customers. So think about your client base, think about those beliefs, and then, either change your beliefs or change your customer base to fit in with your beliefs. Okay, it really is about each organization finding its way. So now we're looking at what do we need to do. Okay, so physically, how do we actually build a really good customer service model? And a good way to sort of look at this is what we call the ladder of loyalty. So this ladder is really about how customers come into our organization. So remember I said when we break sales down, we've got new business and existing business. So here we've got suspects that we market to and we generate leads and they become prospects. We convert those leads, that's our sales, into shoppers. So if we look here as a shopper, if I buy from you once, what level of customer service do I sort of expect?
The exact same as if you buy from us more than once.
Yes, but how important? So if I went to a restaurant, that I was hungry and I went to a restaurant, how important? And I was never going to eat there again. How important would the service be?
Not that important. You're only buying once, on that scale of things.
Yeah. So at a shopper level, it's very much a transactional relationship. I've come because I'm hungry, feed me. I'm not really bothered about coming back again.
But then you'd want customer service in a different way because you'd want maybe good value.
Right. Might be value, it might be speed.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's really what McDonald's built its model on. Yeah, their model was, people come and shop at McDonald's.
Yeah,
they come for a transaction. I want some quick food that's reasonable price, reasonable quality. I know what it is, and then I eat it and I move on. You don't go to McDonald's generally unless you've got 2-year-old kids for the experience of eating at McDonald's. Okay, so it's a transactional. So we've got shoppers that come in and buy for the product and the service. So this is very much what we call a logical left brain buying decision. Yeah, I've got a need and I need that need sorted out. Now, if our business model is purely shoppers, then building an amazing customer service around that probably is a waste of time because they're not going to come back. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying you wouldn't do it, but I would just say you would limit the amount of effort you went into creating an amazing customer service just because they are not going to come back and buy from you. Yeah, they're much more interested in the transaction of actually getting what they need.
But
Yeah,
sorry,
go on.
just thinking out loud.
Mm.
If even though they're a one-off customer,
Yep.
if they are a one-off customer but they get bad customer experience,
Yep.
and then put it online,
Yep.
as a review, then that could affect other one-off customers,
Right.
even though they're not
Yeah.
themselves, they're only a one-off customer, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Exactly. But I didn't say create bad customer experience.
No, okay. Yeah, just good enough.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's so good enough is good enough. There's no
Okay.
point in pushing it beyond that because they're not going to
Yeah.
come back and buy again. So it's a bit pointless, but definitely not bad. And
Okay.
I'll go into more detail on that in a minute. Okay.
Okay.
So once they're a shopper, if there is a potential for repeat business here, then we want to get them to become a customer. Okay. Now the difference between this is obviously they do come back, but at this level here, they're starting to build a relationship. So imagine that you are you want to buy every morning you want to buy a paper and a cup of coffee, and you go to your corner shop, and you buy the transaction of a paper and a cup of coffee. If you're going to go back, if you bought it one off, so you're just in the middle of a strange town and you bought it, you're not really bothered if the person who's selling it to you is rude and obnoxious, or blasé about it, because you just come in for that paper. If you go in there every day as a customer, then your expectations are going to be slightly higher. So now it's moving away more from a transactional relationship into one that is becoming a little bit more emotional. So if I was to buy my paper and my coffee from the shop on a regular basis, Andy, what's something that I potentially would be looking for in that experience?
Friendly member of staff that serves you.
Yep, friendly member of staff. Yep, just be nice, just be polite. Talk to me. Maybe recognize my name. Yeah, and a bit of local chit chat. Okay, so we're starting now. It's no longer now about the transaction. It's now about the emotion about sort of connectedness as people. Okay, so now we're starting to think about customer service here. If I want that person to come back regularly and I want them to spend more money with me, now we're starting to get them to feel like they're a member of my club. It's the easiest way to think about it, is a member of my club, my community. So again, back to that corner store, what could I be doing? How would I be treated somebody that I would see as a member differently to one as I would see as a customer or a shopper?
Offering better deals or some sort of deal.
Perhaps a deal, as one of my regulars, So think about, a very simple way that you get in Costa Coffee and Nero's and those places. What do they give you?
Card.
A loyalty card.
Yeah.
Okay, which is like a membership card. So now I'm creating some loyalty, and so I'm actually going to give you something for free if you keep coming back to me. Now, I'd say that's a fairly basic level of membership. If you were part of a club and you were just given a membership card, how would you feel?
Feel quite special, wouldn't you?
For how long?
Not very long.
Until you put the card up.
Yeah, it's useful, but it's only a step in the direction.
Yeah.
If we were really to create a really great membership program now for our clients, So imagine we're running this corner. Sometimes it's easy to think about another business. So we're running this corner store. We've got these people that we want to come back and buy more often. We could offer deals for them, package deals for them. What else could we offer them to make them really feel part of the membership club?
Learning a bit about them other than their name, but just other things to discuss and talk about, maybe their family or whatever, getting a bit personal.
Yeah, you come in on a regular basis, and now I know about you, your family, so I know what your partner likes. I've actually got some special cheese in that I know your partner likes. I've got this special wine in that I know you like. Try this. We could have what we call closed door sales. So we just invite our members for the launch of a new product. So now we're starting at this level. We're starting to get this involvement with our clients at a much deeper level than just a transaction. We know, like, and trust them. Okay, there's a connection between us. If we get to this level of where we're getting on well with people, then they become an advocate, because at that point, if we ask them, they should be able to refer us new clients. By the way, you're a great client. Do you know anybody else like you? It might be family and friends that come, oh, you've got to go to this shop. It's fantastic. I get all my stuff there. I'm treated like royalty every time I go in there. And ultimately, if they do this without us asking to refer, then they become what we call a raving fan. So you can see here from the lowly level of a shopper, which is transactional, right the way up, we're moving from a logical, analytical transaction into an emotional relationship. We're there to help that person. We're there to make them feel better. We're there to help them achieve their goals. The more we can understand what they want in life, the easier it is to actually create that relationship and move it forward. The problem with that is it takes time. It takes time and effort. And often we're too busy dealing with shoppers, and dealing with our C and D grade clients who are always complaining and moaning and doing things like that. So we never really spend enough time to nurture our A's and B's up to a level where we've really got this strong relationship with them. So that's sort of an overview to see this. Another slightly different way comes from this guy here, a guy called Kaufman. So he's the guy that trains Singapore Airlines. He's been their head trainer for many years. If you don't know, Singapore Airlines has won the best customer service in airlines for the past 10 years or something. And he just sort of came up with a system which I really loved. It was so simple that we've got these 6 levels of customer service. The first level is a criminal level of customer service. So Megan, if you'd experienced a criminal level of customer service, what would have happened?
I think it would just been really bad. What, specifically to airlines?
No, I mean, let's make it nice and simple. Let's make it into a taxi ride. So you've ordered a taxi, and I'm the taxi driver, okay, and I give you a criminal level of customer service. What have I done?
Maybe didn't show up on time.
It's worse than that. Come on, criminal. This is criminal. I should be locked up.
Charged more than you advertised. Got you to the wrong place.
All of those things, yeah. I take your money.
Crash the car.
I take your money and I deliver you somewhere you didn't want to go.
Yeah.
I rip you off.
Yeah. Yeah, so the customer's up there under the deal by paying you. You don't.
Yeah. So I'm in a pretty bad way as a customer. I'm never going to refer you, and I'll probably report you to the police, or in today's world, it'll go on social media. Okay, so we don't do that stuff. We're way beyond criminal level. Then we come to a basic level of customer service. So this is what we would talk about, that shopper, but not even at shopper level. This is sort of really basic. So what describe to me this taxi? Ben, describe to me this taxi ride that gives you a basic level of customer service.
He shows up, you get in, he drives you there. No conversation, no niceties. You pay him, you leave, he drives off.
Yeah. And what condition is the vehicle?
For basic, I'd say it was clean enough, tidy enough, but nothing at all fancy, not overly clean, not overly
shabby.
Yeah.
It'd be a sort of a 1995 Skoda or something, wouldn't it? It was sort of, it's seen better. No one drives a 1995 Skoda, do they? Got to be careful with cars. So there's a basic level of customer service, and there's now an expected level of customer service. So Andy, now we're again in the taxi. What level of customer service would you expect to achieve?
You'd expect slight conversation, not too much.
Yep.
A polite driver, then to take you to your destination for a reasonable price.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay, so it's average. Okay, that's what we're looking at, this sort of expected. In my expectations, I should get there on time, pay a reasonable amount, in general safety and cleanliness. It's my basic level. So this is really our entry level. We have to define what this is from a customer's point of view, because that should be our bare minimum. If we go below that, then we're in trouble. Because if we go to basic, we're only one step away from criminal customer service. So we've got to define what expected is. But if you think about it, everybody that will go, well, that's what I expect, but what I desire will be something different. So Gary, tell me what your desire in a taxi ride would be.
This is based upon an Occidental society, of course.
Yeah.
The desired would be, a fairly modern car. It's going to be roadworthy. It's got to be quite clean. It's got to be quite a friendly driver, quite personable. It's going to have good road knowledge as well, where you're going to be able to get you there in a decent time frame. That costs you as little as possible. You have a good journey out of it.
Yeah. So at this level now, you can see that this is all from our viewpoint. Yeah, I can deliver expected based on my expectations, what I think is right. When we get into here, desired is starting to move into what the customer wants from a customer's point of view, because what Andy desires in a taxi might be different to what Megan desires in a taxi. So this is when we've got to start potentially raising the bar so that we catch as many people as we can, but also be really putting ourselves in their shoes and thinking, what would I really desire if I was the customer? And then our fifth level is surprising. Okay, so now we're actually delivering over and above what the customer's paid for. The customer's paid for expected. Desired makes them happy. Surprising them makes them go, wow. So Gary, what would our surprising level of service be for our taxi driver?
Me again, yeah.
I'm sorry, Gary. Gary, what one below you?
Yeah. So the wow would be they rock up in a really nice fancy new car with all the bells and whistles inside, nice AC. You have a heated bum on your chair. You've got a little bar fridge in the back of the, maybe even a stretch limo or something like that with a little bar fridge with the drink in there for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but just like cheap fizz or a few cans of Coke or something. Just
yeah.
A bit of extra over the top.
Yeah. So now we're getting into something that I haven't paid for. In my mind, the transaction is no longer a transaction. This is over and above. Okay, so a surprising level is something that is not in the initial transaction that was going on. It makes me go, oh, I wasn't expecting that. And that's what sticks in people's mind. This is where we start creating raving fans, because what I've paid for, getting me from A to B in a clean taxi, that's what I'm expecting. Slightly better than normal is what I desire. But surprising is something out of the ordinary, something a little bit left field. And if we really push this, we can push it to the 6th level, which is amazing. Blows my bloody socks off. Okay, now at this level, this is where you create real raving fans. People will talk about this, more than they do the actual transaction. And I say in the sort of the leisure market, it's probably slightly easier to do this, certainly in B2B. Yeah, so one where I got sort of I thought was a surprising and amazing service was I played golf at Celtic Manor. You play on the 2020 there, which is where they held the Ryder Cup. And you turn up in your car, they meet you at the door. They come in, they say, Mr. Stansfield, nice to see you. Leave all your stuff there, we'll sort that. You come in, we'll get you a drink. So you take you to the bar, they give you a drink. And then the manager comes in, welcomes you to this estate, gives you a bit of history tour, takes you down to the locker room. You get down to your locker, your name is on the door. So you've got Tiger Woods' name there, your name's there. They open it up, you've got a bag of tea, some golf balls, your own towel, to shower afterwards. They then sort of take you back up, you have lunch. They then take you, all your clubs have been taken to the first tee already. They've all been cleaned for you. You turn up, they give you a drink, and then you go and play golf. When you come back, they meet you on the 18th. This was 10 years ago this happened. I still talk about it. Okay. That's the impression it has. It has an emotional connection that makes you go, wow. So when we're looking at really I'm not suggesting that we do amazing levels of service where we're only dealing with shoppers. It's wasted on them. Okay, where we should be looking there is expected and desired. But where we've got those A-grade clients that we want to come back and we want them to spend more and shout more about us, then we should be looking at what would be surprising and amazing for them. Because it's those little extras, we call them CNEs, critical non-essentials. Critical in the relationship but non-essential for the transaction. Okay, it's relationships that bond people together. People stick with people because they like them. I've had my hair cut from a guy for pretty much 20 odd years. I drive over half an hour to go and get my hair cut. One of the guys I played golf with last year flies to Colombia to get his hair cut. He says, because he's the guy that does it. He gives me great service, and therefore he's not fussed about going back home to get his hair cut, flying thousands of miles. It's that level of relationship that you're looking for. You can't always get it, but there's an aspiration to actually achieve that. Okay, so what we've got to be looking is we've got to define at least where our expected is, and then we've decide, what standard, our service level agreement, what our standard is going to be. And the standard should be something that we can achieve on a regular basis. There's no point, imagine you were that taxi that created amazing customer service, and then you go back to them, you recommend all your friends, and they go back to them and they deliver basic level of customer service. Got to draw your line where you can hit it consistently. So if it's up here, great. If you're a 5-star hotel and you're dealing with high value clients, then yes, you've got the budget to do that. For a lot of us, we've got to set the budget here and the service level agreement here, but hit it consistently. Okay. So then we're looking at our referral program. Now, as I said before, when we get to our various customer levels, we've got our advocates. Now, the majority of clients we get have the potential to go to advocate. Very few will get to raving fan. So certainly England, we're all too bashful to go around shouting about things. But what can happen is, once we get to a really a good level of service, a good relationship, if we ask somebody, they will refer other people to us. But like all things, our referral program should be one that is consistently done. Okay, that we actually have a system to actually ask referrals on a regular basis. Now, again, we've got to understand who our customer is, and does our customer know more customers like them? There's no good going to a D grade client and asking for more people like a D grade client, because that's not what we want. But our A grade clients might be able to introduce us to somebody else. So, for the R&B guys, if we've got these customers that we think are at that desired level and above, then actually talking to them and saying, look, we love working with you. You're one of our best clients. Is there anybody else in this area or in this industry, or anybody else that is using similar equipment, similar service to you are? Because I'd love an introduction to them. Now, you ask, you might not get. But if you don't ask, you'll never get. And if asking directly is a little bit difficult, then build something in that's a little bit softer. So one of the strategies that I've done in the past is I'll invite clients out to events and ask them to bring a guest. Bring somebody else in business that that might like to come to this event. And if you think about in the old days where we used to do corporate entertaining, I remember that, we used to get together with a client. The whole purpose of corporate entertainment is a little bit towards that ladder of loyalty, moving people up, but actually is a really great referral program. You come along and bring somebody else in your industry, somebody else so that we can start a conversation, we can start a relationship together. But if we leave referrals to chance, you're not driving that part of your business. Yes, you might get the odd referral, but my book, you should be driving it. Who do you know that knows people? Now, one of the really good ways, certainly in B2B, is to actually use LinkedIn. You can link into your client base. You can then search on them who they know, and you can say, well, I know, hi Ben, I see you know Megan. Do you know well enough to introduce me, because I'd love to work with that company? Oh yeah, I know Megan. I'll put a little word in for you. Now, if you're not at that desired and above level of service, they won't respond to you, or they go, bloody hell, I'm not putting Megan in touch with Ben, because fucking hell, they're a bunch of sharks, they are. Okay, so you've got to assess where you are in that process first, but then have a system where you can actually ask for referrals. Another way to look at this is to say, start thinking about a VIP club. So if we've got these A-grade clients and we're looking at membership, membership and above, you're going to be part of, the R&B club. You're going to be part of the AJS club. What could we offer them to be part of that club? What would be part of that feeling? Actually, I belong to this, because people like to belong. We're social beings. Okay, we love to belong to things. So actually giving them VIP membership can really help with that. They can have, sort of special events that are happening just for them.
Or like faster delivery or something.
Sorry, Megan?
Or like faster delivery.
Yeah. So look, I mean, Amazon have done it, haven't they? Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Join the Amazon club, you get privileges. Sky have started to do it. You get privilege, the VIP club with Sky, to maintain people there. Tesco's loyalty cards. Okay, these are all membership programs where you get privileges for being part of the group. So what would the VIP club look like for AJS? I mean, the good thing certainly for you, Megan, is you're dealing with emotional sale. People love bikes, love their bikes. You look at Harley Davidson has built their entire organization purely on this. They've worked really hard. It's not about buying a Harley, it's buying yourself into the club. Okay, that emotional connection means people come back and they only ever buy Harleys. Apple's done something similar. You're part of the Apple community now.
I think that's especially important this year, where everyone spent so much time in isolation as well.
Yeah, big time. If all you ever did was transactional business, during that time you would have lost out. There's a good book by a guy called Seth Godin called Tribes. It's all about tribal mentality, why people follow. We all follow each other. And that's the whole thing of social media and social proof. If a group of people agree to it, then we're more likely to agree to it ourselves. Okay, it is more difficult in a B2B. So if you can imagine your retail customers, Megan, an AJS club would be relatively easy. You could do pins and cards and ride outs and things like that. For a B2B, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Okay, so you've got to see some commonality with your clients, but you could put if you're dealing with different sectors, you could put certain sectors together. Bring experts in the field, have talks about things. It creates something that adds value to them to maintain that relationship. Because really what we're looking at here is the lifetime value for a client. The bigger the lifetime value of a client, the more we want to ensure they stay with us. If they come with us, buy, and then disappear somewhere else, it's no good to us. Okay, so that's really how what we want to be thinking. How do we create raving fans? How do we create memberships? How do we create customer loyalty? How do we create referrals? So, any questions from you guys? Anything that's sprung to mind? I mean, Ben, Gareth, Andy, do you see this as being easy to do within R&B or fairly tricky? Have you got some thoughts, ideas that you could use it for?
Elements of that we can employ, but there's elements that we can't, simply because of the nature of the business and the position of where we are regarding our sector. So bits of it we can probably employ there, but difficult one. We can't really do a VIP club, I think, where we are. Do you think, boys, or?
Yeah. I mean, it would have to be stuff like, if they were a good customer and they wanted, say, more work, we might go for free and give them advice and give them help rather than charging them, because we get the possibility of maybe future work that way.
Yeah.
Or when we quote for future works, we maybe reduce the margins a bit so that we get repeat business out of them. But also it's like they're getting something. So yeah, I guess it would be more from that side of things than having a kind of club.
I mean, if you think about, if you were to do a service contract with somebody, you've bought this service contract. If you change your mindset to you've bought an R&B membership, I think you'll come up with more ideas.
Yeah.
If it's just a service, it's a transaction. I come in, service your equipment, and I disappear. If you've bought into the R&B membership program, in which case you get servicing for free, plus you get all these other wonderful things. I'm not saying those wonderful things are going to be easy to think about, but if you think about them and you work together as a team, I think you'll come up with 2 or 3 that will set you apart from the competition. And that's really what we're doing here. Is we want it so that even if your competitor comes to them and says, look, I can do this for half the price of R&B, they go, nah, I'm not leaving them. That loyalty is so strong that even if they offer it for cheaper, they just go, no. So it's really coming up with, and the other thing is, all you're doing is you're setting the bar higher that other people are going to have to reach to actually achieve it. So I'm totally with you. In B2B, it is more difficult. It's not as simple as just a VIP club like this. But the thing to do is you need to think like that and then start thinking, well, what could it be? Because if you don't, then you do nothing, and all you ever deliver is a basic level of service. And then don't be surprised that customers are going to disappear or leave you because they can get it 5p cheaper somewhere else. Okay. So the next thing is, we did mention it a couple of times here, is don't discount. Okay, this discounting, giving money off, is basically, at best it's lazy, at worst it's downright dangerous. Because if I give, let's say I'm selling something for £100 and I give a 10% and I make 10% margin on it, how much do I make? So 10% net profit. 10 quid. So if I give a 10% discount, how much do I now make? Nothing. So I've actually lost 100% of my profit by discounting by 10%. So what seems like a small discount actually on the bottom line is a lot of money.
Why are you making a 10% profit?
Why? That's a very good question, Gareth. You need to come to Finance Mastery Workshop to work out how to increase the margins. So here's a little sort of summary, okay, that says if we're running a 30% margin, okay, so 30%, generally this is gross margin, so on product, and I discount my price by 10%, I would have to sell 50% more. Sorry, shut up. I'd have to sell 50% more product in order to break even. Okay, so 30% margin, I discount by 10%, I have to sell 50% more product in order to be exactly the same place. Do you follow the maths on that? Yeah? Do you want me to show you? Do you believe me?
My maths is rubbish.
What number's in that box?
Sorry?
What number is in the red box?
50.
Okay.
So the number behind here is 50. It's 50%. Okay, so let me show you in numbers. So as we are, I've got 10 units at £10 is £100. Cost per unit is 7, which is my cost of 70, which is my margin of 30. So on 100, I make 30. Yeah. Okay. If I discount by 10%, so I knock this down by 10 to 9, same units is 90. My cost is the same. So my total cost is the same. And my profit now is 20. So at that level, at 9, I've got to sell 15 units to make 30. 50% more volume in order to make the same profit. This is why I say discounting is dangerous. If you get into a habit of always discounting, yeah, then it's extremely dangerous. There's only one reason I would say you discount on a regular basis. I call it the DFS approach. Okay, do you know what that would be?
Well, with DFS, it seems like they never have anything at full price. Everything's a discount always, and it's just a marketing strategy.
Yep. So what is their strategy, and how do they manage to discount on a regular basis?
Because they're making probably a lot of profit. They're buying cheap and making it look like those products actually worth more than they really are, to be honest. So
yeah,
their business model is selling it for that price and still making money. They're just getting customers in, no?
Yeah. So the only way I would discount is if I take my 100, yeah, and I increase it to 110, they're not £10 off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the only time you discount. Now, there are times I would say where you could discount as a one-off, which is to buy a customer.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I want to buy a customer that I'm going to get repeat business off over the next 10 years, yeah, and that customer's worth to me, let's say that customer's worth £1,000 a year for the next 10 years, yeah, would I give £100 discount in order to buy that customer?
Yeah, of course. It's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah, if it was the difference between getting that customer and losing that customer, I could give them a bit of discount. But I would still say then that's lazy. Okay, because what I could do is actually, if I gave £100 more value that only cost me 50 quid, yeah, I would actually be winning on that basis. Okay, so if we can add value to our service rather than discount, we're better off, because obviously our markup on whatever we sell is going to be there. So if we ever get to a situation where a customer comes to you and says, yeah, that's great, that quote's good, I'll buy that, but can I have a 10% discount? Yeah, the answer is, look, I'm sorry, but our prices are our prices. It will be unfair for me to give you it less value than somebody else that's buying it. But because you're important to me, yeah, what I'm willing to do is throw in something. Okay, throw in something that is low cost, high perceived value. So go back to you, Megan. You were saying earlier on about people are always asking, that you do something wrong and they want a discount, don't they?
Yeah.
Can you give me an example so we can just put it into a context?
So let's say we send out like a panel and it's got like a small scratch or a blemish on it.
Yeah.
They would sometimes give them the option of like sending out a new one, or like giving them discount off the one they've bought.
Yeah.
So we quite often work out what is like better. Usually it's giving them discount.
Okay, so how much is a panel?
Let's say probably cost the end customer £25, but cost us about $7.
So cost them £25, and they want how much they want a discount for.
We usually do 15%, but they usually try and get more, like 25% off.
Okay, so let's say they want a £5 discount. Okay, so you take £5 off, that goes straight to your bottom line, doesn't it? £5 less profit at the bottom line. What do you have in stock that has a retail value of £5 but costs you less than £5?
Probably like a pin badge or something.
A pin badge, okay. Yeah. So I would probably look at that and say, you know, if I got a free pin badge, that might not be quite enough for me. But you know, if you had a cleaning kit, or you had something that was, you know, a t-shirt, you know, an AGS t-shirt that had a retail value of 40 quid, you know, and you could say, look, I'm really sorry, you know, these things doesn't normally happen. Look, let me, you know, we can't give you a refund, but what I can do is give you one of our special t-shirts. Okay, so what can happen is sometimes you can turn, so in that case it might cost you 5 quid, but you've given 40 quid of value. You've given 40 quid of value, and it's only 27 quid. Okay, so that goes back to the whole thing of if you create great service, then now I would do that to if I've got a D grade client that's just an idiot, then I probably wouldn't do it. But if I've got A grade clients, then I definitely want to maintain that relationship. And if I can give them more value than I would discount, but have it cost me less, then I'd look at that. That's what I would call, you know, clever discounting. Lazy discounting is I'll give you your 5 quid back. Clever discounting is what have I got that's more than £5 value, so you feel you're doing really well, but cost me less than 5 quid.
Yeah, or like sometimes if they want their money back, but they want to order more parts, I'll say, well, why don't we take it off your next order? Because then if we took £5 off the next order, obviously it wouldn't cost us £5, but
So I give you a voucher, because at least you get that money back. £5 goes back, and you may never see that £5 back.
Yeah.
And we know that 60% or 40% of vouchers never get redeemed anyway. So, okay, so that's what I would call clever discounting.
Yeah.
Kevin, a quick question there. What about discounting in terms of manpower? Because sometimes when I'm quoting for a job, if I was to discount the manpower side of it, because obviously if it's very quiet, the boys are in working anyway, but if they're not out on a job, they're just sat in the office twiddling their thumbs getting paid, then it's better for me to discount the job, so at least we get some money in. Does that make sense? Is discounting in terms of that context still wrong, or
Look, it's never wrong, Ben. I'm not saying discounting is wrong, and there are times where it's the right thing. What I said, it's sometimes dangerous.
Yes.
If you don't understand your numbers and you don't understand what you're giving away. On the other hand, it's lazy. Okay. So all I ask is, before you give money off and discount like that, well, what else could I do? Is there something else I could add value to you? So actually, while we're there, what we can do is we can do you a free survey of this, and this. We do a pack test. We could do this. Which would take you an extra 2 hours, which will cost you 10 quid. Probably won't cost you anything because the guys aren't doing anything anyway. And they go, bloody hell, you do all of that? That'd be fantastic.
Assuming
that they sort of ask for a discount, you know, just kind of if they question it. Surely you're not just going out there saying, I'm going to offer you this because I think I should.
No, it's if it's if they
Start questioning it. Oh, can you knock it off for me?
And if you go back to the VIP club, you know, let's say that your guys are quiet, then as part of our VIP club, we'll come out and service you. You know, we'll do a service, we'll do a change, because your labour is, it's generally a fixed cost. And say if they're sitting around doing nothing, get them out there, doing some extra work, and actually, because while they're there, they could be looking for more jobs, more work. That's if you look at garages, you know, how much is an MOT these days?
40 quid.
40 quid. How much do they make on doing a MOT?
Hardly anything, but
Hardly
they make
anything.
a lot on the repair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they don't care. You know, as long as the MOT washes its face, the purpose of the MOT from a garage point of view is things are going to fail and we're going to have more repair work. So you could be thinking about that, get your guys out, doing some repair work for cost, but they've got to come and find you ways to, you know, upsell and cross-sell and do different things. Now, you've got to be a little bit careful, because if you think about it, Quick Fit used to do this. Do you know what Quick Fit did?
Did they do free checks or something?
Yeah.
So they do a free check and then find problems and then charge for the work.
Yeah, problems that weren't there.
Yeah.
They
found problems, basically.
They made problems. They made problems that weren't there. So and that's where it goes wrong, and that's where you've got to be clear what your values are and the morals of it. Is that we're not here to rip you off, but if there's something that needs to be done, we need to give you an advisory. And look, while we're here, why don't we fix it? Okay, so this, I'm not saying discount, never discount. So there's sometimes where it's a quick, easy fix to a problem, but be careful that you're not, it's not a problem because you don't understand your margins, but also it's not just you being lazy and there isn't something you could offer more value for less cost. Okay. So the other way to think about this also is for our customers is increasing prices. Okay, now if we increase our prices, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
People won't buy.
People won't buy. Yeah,
losing clients.
Lose clients. Okay. So we have this fear that if I increase my prices, I'm going to lose my clients, and therefore I don't. Now, we are coming into a period in the next few years of high inflation. I think inflation rates are going to go up. Not sure whether we'll get into double-digit inflation. I do hope we don't, but there are inflationary pressures all around at the moment. As you guys know, buying steel, buying metal is going up, in cost. Buying food is going up in cost. Petrol, gas, everything is going up. So there's going to be an inflationary. So if we don't start thinking about putting our prices up, then we're going to get left behind. Okay, and we're going to start losing margin. So fear stands for false expectation appearing real. So you believe that if I put my prices up by 10%, I'm going to lose a lot of clients. Now, if we go back to that previous slide where I said discounting, we would have to do 50% more work if we discounted by 10%. The same is true if we put our prices up. If we put our prices up by 10%, we would have to lose 25% of our customers to be worse off. So while you've got a fear of putting your prices up, might lose customers, do you really feel that you'd lose 25% of your customers? And the reality of that is very, very rarely. Okay, I've been doing this for 15 years, and a 10% increase, the maximum number of customers I've lost for a client is 2%. And guess which percent of clients they were? The 2% that went were the D grade clients. So I've got the prices up on all my A, Bs and Cs. The Ds have buggered off because they don't want it, and then go and irritate my competitors. Even better. Okay, so again, because I know you're all disbelievers, let's look at the numbers again. So here's our 10 units at 100. I increased my price to £11 from 10. Costs stay the same. My profit goes from 30 to 40. So I'd have to reduce a number of units to 7.5 in order to make the same money as I did before. I'd have to lose 25% of my customer base to be worse off than I was before I put prices up by 10%. And this is one of the fundamentals, that you've got to understand your math. You've got to understand your business model. You've got to understand how your profit is made. If you don't understand these things, you can't discount properly, and you won't put your prices up. Okay, you've got to know when you're doing quotes and how the business model works.
Yeah, and to me, that is like working smartly. So you're now in a position where you're kind of selling less but making more. So
Yeah.
you're working as hard. So,
Yeah, exactly. You're selling less and making more. Well, if we're flat out, then, and it is a tough one. I know for a lot of people, we go through a lot of perturbation over this, and you don't have to do everything. Okay, you don't have to put prices up across the range, but there are areas in your business where you haven't put the prices up. You're starting to lag behind on the profitability you should make, and there should always be room for increasing some of these. Okay, so at least once a year we should be looking and saying, right, which are the products and services we should be increasing the prices on. And if you don't do it now, because a lot of people haven't done it, because we've gone through zero inflation for the past 10, 15 years. Yeah, so you haven't gained for any inflation that there has been. When inflation does kick in, and you've got to start increasing it by potentially more than 10% because you've been forced to, it's going to be even more difficult, and you're going to be behind the curve and constantly trying to catch up. So I would, if you can, there's a window now to do it now. Okay, certainly for you, Megan, where you're buying in stuff from abroad, that your transport costs have nearly doubled, bringing stuff into the country, container
Times
prices.
10.
Times 10, yeah. Okay, so you've got to be open, tell people why it's happening, because I think people will understand. They won't like it, no one likes it, but you've got to sort of stand by your gunnels and go for it. Okay, so don't discount, add value, and wherever possible, look to put your prices up. Those are the two biggest, simplest impacts on average transaction value. Okay, is getting those up.
Hey, Kevin, can I share something quickly?
Yeah.
Relating to what you were just saying there about bringing your prices up and fearing losing customers. So last year I was running around like a headless chicken chasing the cheap hourly rate because I was new doing property maintenance. And after listening to your advice, I whacked my price up by 20%, and I've still the phone's still ringing. I'm still getting calls. I'm still pricing jobs, and I'm still getting quite a lot of work. And I'm flat out most of the time, and that's even with 20% increase. So if you're good at what you do, and you just put the price up, a lot of your good customers will stay.
Yeah.
I still get lots of like the B&I guys. They're still calling me quite a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
don't
be scared of it.
I had one case a few years ago where a client, we did this, they put their prices up, and the only comment we had back was from a really good customer of theirs that said, about bloody time, you've been far too cheap for far too long. Okay, so but the other thing to remember is, look, if you're down here at basic expected and you put your prices up, people will go. If you're up here, yeah, and you're delivering that sort of membership level, really great quality, people will take it. So my view would be work on this first, get to a point where you know that you're delivering consistently a great quality product and service, and then be prepared to put your prices up. If you're still feeling, oh, I don't know about I should, then assess where you are. Get rid of your D grade. Well, the quickest way to get rid of your D grade clients is put their prices up anyway. You know, if you want to pay, then pay more money, but then make sure that you're working on this one. Okay. So then we're looking at cross-selling and upselling. So we've got these clients that work with us. Okay, we're giving them a good quality product and service. We're up in that sort of desired, amazing levels, and we want them to come back. Okay, so we've got to make sure that they are aware of everything that we do, because so many times with businesses, certainly with you guys, R&B, you go in to fix one problem, but actually you can do a lot more than that one problem. It's just they don't know it. They've come to you to solve one thing, but you could be solving so many different things. So we need to be clear, or we need to be able to show them our full product list. Have checklists. That's why I say the audits are so good. Well, let me audit this and we'll give you recommendations of further improvements. You've got your occupational hygiene, the Desire things. These are all great ways to get in, give them reports that show where potentially there's more work that could be done. Bringing in scripts, sales training. If you've got sort of more retail, then point of sale displays. But the number one thing is always ask. And I call this to me is the do you want fries with that approach.
Yeah. There's never steam coming off my fries. They're always cold.
I think that's the salt, Gareth. If only that's desired. That's desired, isn't it? It's not certainly not expected. But that with McDonald's, what they did was they looked same way. How do we get more out of a transaction? People come in, buy a burger. Burger's £3. They brought this in. I think it was late 80s, early 90s. And they brought in this script that they trained all of their counter staff to ask is, do you want fries with that? That one campaign put 20% profit on their bottom line. Because, how much margin is in fries? It's their highest margin product. It costs them nothing to produce a bag of fries, and they sell it for, I don't know, £1, £1.79, something like that. Okay, they went a step further. Didn't know what was their next one.
Supersizing, was it?
Supersize. Would you like to supersize that? Okay, because that's even better, because supersizing it, is even bigger margin. The only problem with that is they did sort of forget about the fact they were creating obese customers, and it was sort of pressure from the media that made it. So I don't know if it's illegal in America, but they had to stop saying, do you want to supersize that?
They did that trick with my partner the other week. We went for a drive-through and he just asked for an Americano. But instead of asking what size would you like, he's like, is that a large? Yeah. And under pressure, you just went, yeah. And then you got it. It's like, I want a bloody large coffee, like a litre. Yeah. But it's sort of asked.
Brilliant training. It's assume the sale. Yeah, you're not being pushy. You're not, doing something that is wrong. You're just saying, so I make that a large one. Yeah. And not everybody. Some people go, oh no, just regular's fine. Yeah. But 80% probably will just go, okay, yeah. I've just come for coffee. That's what I've come for. Yeah. The size is almost irrelevant. And nowadays it's all by blooming card anyway, so it's not like, oh shit, I've only got £1.49 and large is £1.79.
Just looking at that again, it's very, very clever when you look into it a bit more deeply. Perhaps I'm overanalyzing it as usual, but it's not a question, it's a statement. You want price with that, full stop.
Yeah.
Like, they're telling you you've got to have price with it, aren't they, basically, on that point?
Yeah. It's psychologically written.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's basically making you there, and you've decided you're now having to answer another question which you're not prepared for. And it's easy just to say, yeah, go on then.
If there's no question mark at the end of that, is there? You'd ask it as a question, you want price with that. They're telling you want price with that.
Yeah.
Clever sales.
Yeah. So it's assumptive selling, you know. And another way is, you know, you go through it. So when would you like delivery?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose Thursday. Great. I haven't even decided I want to buy it yet, but now I've made a commitment to delivery on Thursday. So there are, you know, and this is why sales training, you know, can be so important, because there are real subtleties, you know, neuro-linguistic programming, the way we say things leads to certain things. I do a little bit more of that in the sales training. Okay, but it's very much a powerful thing that some people do naturally, but it can all be trained. So we've got to learn to ask, you know, ask for more. You know, it's the Oliver approach, you know, please, sir, can I have some more? You know, do you want some more? And that's not always easy. So a way that we can do that is to create a magic matrix. So a magic matrix is really just very simple. It's just a list of products along the top. So this is what we sell. So all the different areas, different products that we sell, and down the side are the customers. So these are the customers that we've got. So I've lost people on my for some reason. Okay. Sorry, Megan, you've disappeared off my screen. Actually, I'll get rid of me.
Oh, I'm still here.
I know you're still there, but
I think it's because Gary's gone.
yeah, Gary's gone, and I had you all on there. Now he's gone. I can't expand you anymore. So, oh, Gary's back. There we go. I can get you all back now. So, products, services along the top, customers down the side, and then you say, right, who's buying what? So customer A is buying these two, but doesn't buy this. Yeah, isn't aware of it. Is aware but hasn't bought this. Customer B isn't aware of these. So what we can do then is, if we put all of our customers within this matrix, is we can look and say, right, leadership and development, we need to offer this service to customer A and D. So we could do a marketing campaign to those customers and say, look, you know, did you know that we do this as well? For customer, let's say customer B, yeah, who doesn't use this, we would write directly to customer B and say, customer B, look, are you aware that we do these two? So we can have a direct approach or an indirect approach. And just by doing this, what we can do is we can increase our sales massively, because as I said, they come to you to buy one thing. So customer D's come to buy a sales strategy planning, yeah, has no thought about leadership and development and sales training, you know, and anything else. Okay, so it's just a very simple, you can just do it in a spreadsheet, you can just do it on a whiteboard, doesn't matter, you're just trying to identify who buys what, and then you can have a specific targeted campaign to see if you can get more out of what you've got. The next area then is really, you know, some clients will buy from us regularly, yeah, some clients will be infrequently. One of the key things we've got to have in place is a contact program. So when they're not buying from us, how do we keep in touch with them? Do we send them a newsletter? Do we email them? Do we meet them networking? Do we pick up the phone to them? Do we send them something? There's a thing called the Law of Perceived Indifference. If we haven't made contact with one of our clients in 3 months, their perception of us is indifferent. So we could have, if we go back to here. Okay, so let's say that we created some surprising, amazing customer service when they bought from us. If they don't contact us for another 3 months, they drop back. Another 3 months, they drop back. Okay? Their level of knowledge about what we did back here has gone. So, you know, I said about the Celtic Manor experience and the golf. I get an email from Celtic Manor pretty much on a monthly basis. Okay, keeps them in my mind. Now, because I had a good experience with them, I don't mind receiving that email because there's always a deal on and something, you know, might come up in the future. If I got basic criminal expected level of service, I probably would switch off. I don't really, you know, you didn't really impress me the first time, so I'll switch off. So what we're looking here is to say, right, how do we keep in contact with our clients over a longer period of time? And there was a guy called Joe Girard. He's in the Guinness Book of Records for the highest performing car salesman in the world. The average car salesman, I think, sells about £300,000 worth of cars a year. He sells about £3 million of cars and sales a year. Okay, he did it. He does no marketing whatsoever. So he doesn't do any sales, any new customer marketing. But what he does do is every single client he's ever had, he keeps in contact at least 3 times a year. They get a Christmas card, they get a birthday card, and they get an anniversary card of the day they bought their car.
He only ever sells Lamborghinis.
No, it was just a standard second-hand car salesman in America. They're just
Year 98 Skodas.
Yeah, plenty of those. So how much does sending 3 cards a year cost?
Not much.
To every customer.
To every customer. So yeah, to every customer. Every customer he's ever had.
Mm.
But for one customer, how much does that cost?
20p, 50p, depends how many he's sending.
Yeah. I mean, you buy cards in bulk, wouldn't you? So you're probably looking. Let's say it was £5 a year in cards. £5 a year. How many years between people buying a car and their next car?
3
On average, 3. Let's say 3 years. That's £15, £5 a year for 3 years. £15. Yeah. Would he spend £15 to make sure that customer came back and bought another car from him?
Yes. Yeah, of course he would. Yeah.
All day long. Okay. So he was spending, you know, tens of thousands of pounds, on cards. Well, that was his strategy. I keep in contact with them 3 times a year because I know if I don't, there'll be a perceived indifference and they'll go and buy their car somewhere else. So I'm pretty much guaranteeing they'll come and buy from me. But also, if I keep in touch with them, do you think they know somebody else that's buying a car within those 3 years? Who are they going to recommend?
The guy they've just got a card from.
Go and speak to Joe. Yeah, he's brilliant. Every year he sends me a car. Okay, that was his number one strategy, and that's what led him to being outperforming every single other car salesman, certainly in America, if not the world. Now, how many people would go to that effort? Yes, it was fairly cheap, but it took a bit of effort, didn't it? It took a bit of thought. He had to get their birth date. He had to get, the birth date was the hardest thing, but where do you get your birth date from if you're a car salesperson?
Driving license.
Driving license. It's just a process. Okay, so what we've got to think of is, everything that we do, we've got to systemize it, put it into a process, train it, and then delegate it. Did he write those cards? No. He paid somebody else to write those cards for him because he was too busy selling cars. Okay, so we systemize it, we train, and then we get somebody else to run that process for us while we go and do something else. Okay, so we're really thinking here is, almost we need to put as much effort into retaining and keeping our clients as we do getting new ones. Too many people go, oh, it's all about we need new clients, new clients, new clients, new clients. Forget about our existing clients. But that's like, say, filling a bathtub, with the plug left out. You're putting all this new water in, it's just pouring out. We're not getting these people back. If we focus on keeping our clients, making sure they're happy, making sure they come back to us, upselling, cross-selling, finding out their other areas of need, then we can get far more out of what we've got. And on average, it's 6 times easier to sell to an existing client than it is a new client because they already know, like, and trust you. But what it does take is it takes effort and time. And that's the one thing that most people in business have limited amounts of. So you've got to create the space to do this. You've got to create the system to do this. And then you've got to train the people to do this. Okay, it's really important to get that through. And that's why McDonald's is so successful, because they just have the best training program of any fast food chain. They're just trained to say these things. You want fries with that? It's not. It's one little phrase. That's all it takes. Good. So that is the end of our show today. So home fun, if you choose to do it, is identify your A to D grade clients. So really look at your clients and just assess them. Write them down. Have an assessment. Who are my A's? And see if you can start thinking of ways to actually upgrade them. What could we do to upgrade them? Review your prices. So are there some areas where we can put our prices up? And actually just get that margin straight. Again, stop discounting if you are, or think of other more creative ways to give value rather than give money. And think about that loyalty scheme. But really, I think for most of you guys, it's about that membership. What does being an R&B, an AGS, a KJV member look like? Okay, what do we want? How do we want them to feel? What would be that next level above the level that the service we're giving? And then see if we can create a process to actually deliver that. But again, you do that, you've then got to put a system in place, you've got to train your people, and then you've got to make sure that they deliver on it. Fabulous. Good. Any questions?
I think so.
There's a lot to take in there, guys. I do appreciate that. That's why I always say, look, come back to these. I do them every quarter. Come back next quarter, even in 6 months' time, because the group will be different. Your level of understanding will be at a different place as well. If you want more reading on it, I can certainly recommend that Ron Kaufman, Up Your Service. It's a really good book, which goes into those 6 levels nicely. But there's no rocket science in this. You know what good customer service looks like. You've been to places that gives it. You get a place that doesn't give it. The key to be is to talk about it as a team, and come up with a few strategies to actually improve on, and then just keep improving. Because that ladder that I showed you is not a ladder; it's an escalator, and it's always going down. So this year's amazing service is next year's desired service. So you've always got to be reinventing yourself and keeping yourself moving forwards. So cool. So Andy, what was the top thing you got from today?
A to D clients. I thought that was quite interesting.
Yep. And that's something you can sort of take away and work on.
Yeah.
Yep. Brilliant. Good. Ben?
Probably that stuff about the discounting and not discounting, and really believing in what you're selling, and actually putting the prices up because you believe in it, rather than trying to get the customers to stay because they perceive it to be good value. You actually make it good value and then charge for what you're doing.
Yeah. It's, you know, you go to Harrods, you pay ticket price. You go to a bazaar in Morocco, you haggle. Yeah. You know, could be the same product, but it's if you create a Harrods environment, people don't haggle. Yeah. You know, if you look like a bazaar in Morocco, then people are going to sort of question. So cool. Gareth?
Mine's the same as Ben's, really. It's just put your prices up. You know, don't be afraid to put your prices up. When I was in business, I wasn't really afraid to do that. I had a really good, loyal customer base, and they were happy to keep me on board, and they were raise the prices. Some of them would actually want to pay me more on the spot, you know. So a good position to.
That's good.
But the problem I've got is everyone tries to chop each other down in price, and you've got an industry that's absolutely worthless at the end of it because everyone's fighting for the lowest common denominator and nobody gets anything out of it. So it's kind of hitting home and reconfirmed, you know, that don't be afraid to, if you've got a really good product, really good service, don't be afraid to put prices up to compensate for it.
Yeah. And if you are competing on price, you know, you've got to try and differentiate yourself so that it's like Apple. You can't get a discount on Apple because, if you want an Apple, you have to pay for an Apple.
Yeah, and with Apple, you know, people say, oh, they're really expensive, but then if you buy a high-end PC, you know, that's really expensive, which is much the same thing. So where's the difference? So
that is a big problem for us, though, is that it's not always comparing kind of eggs with eggs. So people will get a quote from us and it'll be a lot more
apples with Samsungs. But
exactly.
that's what you've got to get across. You've got to get that. Look, we're not just that run-of-the-mill stuff. We are at this level, you know. But if that level isn't relevant to me, then I'm not going to pay for it. And I'll cover more of that when we go into the sales mastery workshop. I'll do more on that because that's more of a conversion thing.
Okay.
So, cool. Megan?
I think definitely the A to D grade clients, as we're going through, if you sort of picture which ones were A's and which ones were D's, and I think it'd be good to actually categorize them and see what we can do to move the D's up or get rid of them, and reward the sort of A and B dealers.
Fab. Cool. Good. Excellent. Well, been a pleasure working with you guys. So hope to see you again at the next one, which is in, I think, 2 weeks' time, and it will be time mastery. So sort of working on getting more out of a day and organising yourself better, and a bit of profiling as well. So hope you can make that. So lovely. You take care.
Thank you.
Have a good week, and see you soon. Bye for now.
Thanks, Kevin.
Bye.
Thank you.